Books are a blessing. Parchments make all the difference for your life and your life's work. Books put you face to face with your prophet and your teacher.
Hello everyone, it's Caleb over here, and this happens to be the first episode of the Spoudazo Book Review Podcast. We thank God so much for this wonderful opportunity. In today's podcast, I'll be sharing with us some very relevant keys with respect to how to unearth the treasures embedded in books. So today's topic is basically we are going to look at reasons why people read but those books don't transform them, or we are going to look at some of the reasons why people read books but we don't see the results in their lives. Basically, that is what we are going to be looking at in today's podcast, and I just want to encourage you to do your best to listen to it, to the end, and I trust that you really be blessed. So in my journey of books, or when I really started diving deeply into books and then into literature, Christian literature, and all the other kinds of books, you realize that some people have these books. Yes, you realize that many a times you hear a story. Maybe you hear a story from one person saying that, some time ago I came into contact with this book, and this book really transformed my life, and this book shaped my thinking. This book changed my personality, or changed my mentality. With respect to maybe this area. And another person has also maybe read that same book, but the person is like, come on, I've read the same book but I didn't see what you have seen, or I didn't see the light you saw. I didn't encounter that same light you encountered, or that knowledge you are speaking. It's like I don't know if I get what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So it's like the same book, alright, but you have two people having different experiences with the same book. And so in that case, is it the book or it's the people? Is it the reader or is the knowledge? And that is what basically we'll be looking at in today's podcast, because one of the things you have to learn is to how to unearth the treasures in a book. Every book is like a mining field, or it's like a field with treasures. Now you know that when you go to a field, the treasures are not on the surface. You would have to dig deep. You would have to go deeper. You would have to get the tools and then the resources that you are going to use to go deeper. And that is how you can unearth, or you can bring out the treasures in a book. And until you really learn this key, you can have all the resources, trust me, you can have all the books. Like some of us, I'm sure that some of you have most of the books that maybe I may even be talking about in the subsequent episodes. Maybe some of the books that I will share, maybe some of you maybe have encountered those books, or maybe some of you even have those books. We are in the era where you speak to people, or you go to people's laptops and you find that they have a lot of PDFs, like numerous books, but you ask yourself, these books are also lying here, but have they cracked the code in the books? I trust you are getting what I'm trying to say. Yes. So that is what we are looking at today, because you need to learn this key. Yeah, because if you don't learn this key, you realize that you have a book, alright, and you say that I've read the book, but where's the result? If you've read the book, we need to see the result. We gotta see the results. You get what I'm trying to say? We gotta see the results. Yeah. So so I think the first reason why a lot of people read books, but they are not the books don't really, we don't see that transformation in their lives. I think one of the first reasons is a lot of people are not intentional about the books they read. Yes, I think the first point is a lot of people are not intentional. People are not intentional about the books they read. Now, you see, when it comes to reading, especially when people want to build up the habit of reading and reading books, many times they just start like spontaneously, which is good. Like, or maybe any book at all they find at hand, they read it. But you see, that is good. And I mean, in fact, one great man of God said, you would have to come to the point where you don't even read for pleasure any longer, but you read for a particular result you are looking for. Because I mean, there's a time where you read for pleasure. In fact, like myself, there are times where maybe I'm tired, or maybe I'm kind of like stressed out. Maybe I just want to read something to just refresh my brain. There are times where, or maybe I have this particular book that maybe I think if I read, it just calms me down, like, or something like that. Like you get what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I mean, but even in that period, there's a way you can go about it, that even though you are trying to just relax with the knowledge, that knowledge is coming to you, doing something to you. Yeah, because I mean, knowledge is power. So if knowledge is power, I mean, how can we then utilize that power? Like, you get it. So the first reason is a lot of people are not intentional about reading books. So you find that someone takes a book, he just reads one page, and then he jumps to another book. I mean, like, everybody and their style of reading. But I mean, one of the ways, or one of the keys you can put in place to really get something out of a book is to be intentional about it. It may not necessarily be reading the book from A to Z. Yes, because myself, there are some books that I've read, I didn't read it entirely, but I mean, that book really blessed my life, and because maybe I was intentional about it. So the first thing is, be intentional about it. So if I say be intentional about the book, what do I mean? I mean, one, what exactly do you want to study, or what exactly are you looking out for in the book? Let's say you are studying, maybe you want a book on purpose. You want a book on purpose. Now, if you know that you want a book on purpose, you don't go and read a book on maybe excellence. I mean, even though that's a very good book, that is not what maybe you are looking for, or that is not the need you are trying to satisfy at that point in your life. Maybe you want to discover your purpose. So you are trying to find out, okay, what are some of the books that I can read on purpose? Okay, we have Rick Warren's book, The Purpose Driven Life. We have Dr. Miles Monroe's books on purpose. We have other nice. So with there, you realize that because of your intentional, or your intentionality, realize that now you narrow down your choices. So with respect to your author or the authors, now you look out for it with respect to the topics that you are looking out for. So now you narrow down everything, and that is what I mean by you have to be intentional about it. So in that way, you don't start by, maybe when I read this, because you see some of the books are there. When you start, it's not nice. Maybe the chapter 1 is not really nice. Maybe the nice part is when you are going further. Some books are there. If you take, I don't want to use anyone as an example, but some books are there. Basically, when you start, and some books too are there. When you start, it's very nice, it's very pleasing. But going on, realize that it becomes mincy, like it becomes some way. Like you get what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So that is one of the keys. A lot of people are not really intentional, like about what they are looking out for. Yeah. So with that, or maybe they want to build a reading habit or a reading like anything goes. I mean, if you do it that way, dear, you may not go far. Like you may not, because you have to be intentional. Like you have to have a plan. Maybe these are the books, like this is what I want to study maybe in this month. So then I'm narrowing down my choice. Like it's not open. It's not like anything goes. No. Anything goes. It doesn't help. So that is one of the reasons why a lot of people read, but you realize that those books may not really bless their lives, or may not really bring about a certain level of transformation. It may bring a certain transformation, like maybe because knowledge is power, so maybe you may have the knowledge of it, but we want to transcend that level of having the knowledge in our heads to having that knowledge being translated into our lives. And basically, I mean, that is main essence of it. It's not just about having it off head, say, I've read this book before, I've read this book before, I've read this book before, I've read this. No. That maybe I read this book and this and this and this transformation is what it brought into my life. Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Yes. So that is one of the reasons is that a lot of people are not really intentional about the books they read. They are not intentional. They don't narrow down their choices. They are not hardcore bent on getting a certain level of knowledge. If you open your net wide, that one, anything at all will go. And that is why, you see, if you don't narrow down, like, you may enter a very big library and now you may not know which area to move to. But now when you know that, okay, this and this is what I'm looking for, you may enter a big library, but you know that, okay, maybe this aspect of books, I'm looking for this aspect of books. So maybe that may even be your first request, until maybe they'll tell you that, maybe some is not there. Then later you try to look for other areas. So that is one. Two, one of the reasons why a lot of people read many books but are not really, we don't see the books being translated into their life, the knowledge being, is because a lot of people tend to pride themselves in the number of books they read than seeing to it that book they've read is really, is seen in their lives. Like, let me give you see, we are in the era where, like, many times when we are entering into the new year, people set resolutions, like, maybe this year I want to read 100 books, or maybe this year I want to read 50 books, or maybe this year I want to read 20 books, or maybe this year I want to read 10 books, or maybe this year I want to read 30 books. It's good, like, don't get me wrong, I don't get this point wrong. It's very, very great, and it's very, very good to have such goals, but you don't have to. Your goal should not be that, I just want to, because if your goal is just to finish numbers, or to accumulate numbers with respect to the books you read, then you may finish the book all right, but what are you getting from the book? So you realize that you'll be able to say, maybe this year I read 100 books, but come on, what did those 100 books do to you? Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. And so, because the reason I'm saying that, because you encounter a lot of people, like, maybe because of the way, maybe because of how I read and all of that, when I start mentioning some of the books, you see, I didn't start today. Like, I started a long time ago. So because I started a very long time, years ago, maybe there are some books, but it took a long time. So sometimes you don't have to. Your goal should not be that, maybe I want to read this number of books in this. No, if even you stick to just one book, if even it's one book that you are going to stick to, and it's going to be for a long time, and that book is really going to bring a certain change in your life, it's worth it. Yeah, it's very much worth it than just priding ourselves in, like, if you meet, it's like, the reason is, when you meet people who read and you meet them and they are talking, you may get to that point, you want to show them that, Charlie, you're a reader. So as they are saying, I've read this, you too start saying, I've read it. But no. And many times, maybe if you too are now a beginner and you are trying to build that reading habit, you may feel like, wow, then I just want to finish reading at midnight. No. There are some books that I'm still reading, like, I've read them, like, for months, like, I still visit it. There are some books that you realize that I'm even just be on chapter 1, and I'll not even be able to, like, I'm just still on chapter 1. Just keep on feeding on chapter 1. Just keep on feeding on chapter 1. Like, it's like that's what I'm just on. There are some books that it's like, when I just get, like, you should not be just in a hurry to finish the book. No. Rather, you should be in a hurry to get something from the book. So, because when you have that in mind, when you are reading the book, you realize that there's a particular chapter that speaks to you very much or very well. Like, it's like you can really relate to that chapter. Many times, maybe that's the chapter that's meant for you. So you have to stick to that chapter and bring out the gold in it. Yeah, meditate on it. Like, you have to brood over it. You have to think over it. There's this nice book that even just recently I revisited this. I revisited just this previous week. But I've read this book like But I still keep on reading it because it's like anytime I visit it, it blesses me and it keeps on like refiring me, like keeps on firing me up again, like yeah. So that is one reason, because a lot of people just pride themselves in the number of books. Like I just want to read this number of books. No. You see, a book is a treasure house. Yes, a book is like a treasure chest or a treasure house. There are treasures in there, as I said earlier. Yeah.